It was on, then it was off, but now it's back on again. I speak of the search for American Robin Gardner, who went missing in Aruba on August 2nd. On Monday, investigators resumed the search for her remains or for evidence against her detained and very creepy travel companion, Gary Giordano. This is odd considering last week they called off the search altogether, but Giordano is still being held on suspicion of involvement in Gardner's presumed death. This can only mean one thing. Must be time for another visit from Dr. Michael Baden, former New York City chief medical officer, Fox News contributor, and Red Eye's death correspondent. Okay, before I get to the story, we were hooking you up onto the chair, and you made a comment about the story we did on the Marines and farting. You said that this goes against health protocol. If you don't break wind, it's unhealthy.
We've got trillions of bacteria in our intestines digesting our food and making gases. Part of what they do is make gases that get passed out, which we call breaking wind.
Yeah.
What do the Afghanistanis do with that? If they don't break wind, then there's a defect in their digestive system.
Well, see, I remember trying to do research on this question about 15 years ago for Men's Health. I said, is it harmful to hold it back? And I couldn't get a doctor to tell me where it goes.
It stays in the intestines. And some of it gets absorbed into the body and pollutes the body instead of polluting the atmosphere.
Is the pollution in the body dangerous?
Not too dangerous.
Okay, so it's just kind of like, it just means the inside smell.
That's right. That's right. Because
it's like Bill's apartment.
It's like we urinate and we defecate and we pass gas.
Yeah. Some of us do.
Part of normal.
That is a great children's book.
Part of normal digestion.
Yes.
Digestion is kind of a dirty process.
Speaking of dirty, I just wanted the camera to go on this. The human rights attorney, she was giggling like a 12-year-old throughout that entire exchange.
All right,
very mature.
I've got to transition into the story that we had Dr. Baden here, but I wanted to get to that. Okay, I want to talk about the search for this woman. Was 7 hours on Monday, and they got nothing. What is going on over there? What's happening?
I think they've gone off on a tangent just because this businessman, who we're blaming for being a bad guy.
So that you're accentuating the name businessman because we're talking that businessman should be president.
Should be in
so you're being sarcastic, is what you're doing, Doctor.
That's medical sarcasm.
All right, very good.
Sarcasm. But
cold, steely sarcasm.
But just because you took out a $1.5 million insurance policy on her, doesn't mean that they should be suspicious of this guy.
Yeah, now that is also sarcasm. All right, I want to ask you, okay, I'm not slow. Well, maybe. Okay, he takes out this policy, right?
Yes.
Could there be a theory that she isn't dead and that she's in on this and that they hatched the scheme? Because they met on, I guess, Match.com, and then they go off and they both took out.
See, that's always an issue, and the police have to consider when somebody disappears and you don't have a body.
Right.
Could there be some kind of a scam going on in insurance?
Right.
And every now and then this does happen. Somebody dies, and then turns out 10 years later that alive and well with the.
Because this thing would be if this guy's and he is a criminal. Apparently, he has a prison background, or he's got a criminal. I think he does.
He's got a business background.
Oh, you're terrible. If he was planning something, this is an idiotic plan to take a woman to Aruba, which is already notorious for a heinous crime, and to kill somebody. So it seems like there's something else there.
Yeah, it's a little bizarre because in order to snorkel, you need certain equipment.
Yeah.
And he didn't have any equipment.
Yeah.
And then somebody did see him on the beach.
Yeah.
That lonely beach, not snorkeling at all, just walking. So it looks, and of course her boyfriend thought they were having a platonic nice time.
Yeah. Well, do you think she's alive?
I don't think she's alive.
Really?
And the problem is, if she's out in the water, the tides there tend to come in. That's why one thing with Natalie Holloway, the fact that the body never came back to shore, appears, is there are other hiding places in deep mines where bodies can be put and not found because there used to be a lot of mining in Aruba.
Oh, okay.
So there are places to drop off people.
Oh, I didn't know. All right, I want to move to the next topic. Was the murder pinned on the wrong twin? Earlier this year, Phoenix man was shot dead during a brawl outside an Arizona nightclub. A few weeks later, police arrested a suspect, Orlando Nebhard. Where are these names coming from? Who fled the state. But now the police chief telling a newspaper, quote, somebody has raised the question about which twin pulled the trigger. Yes, Nemhard has a twin, and they look, quote, very similar. I guess that's why they're called twins, I suppose. How common is this, Doctor? The police arrest some guy, and it's the wrong twin.
Well, even without twins, eyewitness identification has turned out to be not as accurate as we've given it credence to over the decades. But what's interesting about even identical twins, they have different fingerprints. They have the identical DNA, but a fingerprint is different. And it shows that because identical twins, when the womb, one is on the left side, one's on the right side, they get a little bit different blood supply, and that causes the ridges on the fingers to be different.
So when they call them nature's clones, they're really not. They're not clones of each other.
You're the only person who calls them nature's clones.
No, everyone always calls them that.
You're right.
Wait, no, say that a little louder for Greg over there.
The DNA is identical, but there are a lot of stuff on us that isn't caused by DNA, such as fingerprints are not due to DNA. They're due to blood flow in the placenta while the skin is developing in our mother's wombs.
Doctor, you are a doctor, so you should be able to answer this question. Can you tell which twin is more evil?
Just
by looking at them?
No, the problem is, and there's a big issue in psychiatry where psychiatrists come in and say, shall we release this person? Is he still a danger to society? And there's somebody who's done bad things.
Yeah.
And they're very bad at that.
Oh, really? Twins are?
The psychiatrists. It's hard to tell future behavior, even if you study a person very carefully.
Are there any twin coroners?
No, that's a good question. No.
Or do you think maybe there are twins pretending to be one coroner? Dr. Michael Baden, or should I say Mitchell Baden?
Bring him out! We got him tied up! Get him in here!
I grew up with the Corsican brothers. The Corsican brothers, an old movie.
Don't change the subject, Mitchell!
In which they're identical twins that have been separated at birth.
Yeah.
And they really felt each other's pains and anguishes.
Is that an urban legend? Is that, I mean,
it's a Hollywood movie. Same thing.
I'm such an idiot.
Greg, I'm getting word from our producers we are unable to revive Mitchell. I am so sorry, Doctor. This has gotten very grisly. Perhaps you can examine him.
All right, we got to move on.
Dr. Baden, it's always awesome having you on the show.
Good to see you.
Mitchell. I'm not sure anymore.
Maybe we killed Michael.
I don't know. Either way, one of them is having a great time tonight.
Your reign of terror is over. That's all we know. That's all we know. You're welcome, America. The twin is dead. Long live the twin.
What if we got the wrong one?
This is the one without the license. Oh, all the poor dead people.
All right, time for another break. And remember to check out the Red Eye podcast. Well, there's not going to be a new one every day, but you can catch them.
It's the
Fox
oldies.
News Radio. I have one again because I'm doing the 5 a lot.